Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom!
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What's your name?
Smith. Oh, Smithy, if you like. What's your purpose in Port Royal, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, and no lies.
It is my intention to commandeer one of these ships, pick up a crew and Tortuga, raid, pillage, plunder, and otherwise pilfer my Weasley black guts out.
I said no lies.
Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Movie Show. Coming up on this week's show, we've got a little bit of news, look at the box office top 10 and the new cinema releases, which include these movies.
Michael Bay attempts a low-budget action film with Pain and Gain. You've got the latest horror film from Adam Wingard, who was responsible for VHS, with You're Next. And then you've got indie comedy drama The Way Back.
We'll be with you for the next 45 minutes or so on this part of the show, and then maybe not quite that long this week's DVD section, as there's not a lot of new releases. But we'll be with you maybe for the next up to sort of 80, 90 minutes. I'm completely lost now. I'm so messed up today. I really am.
Can I just say that you're
Yeah.
Andy, I'm Stuart. Hello.
Yes. I was going to say that, and then it's like, okay, what do I do now?
I know a lot of people already know who we are, but you have to get that out of the way every single week, just in case we get new listeners.
I know. As you can probably tell, my voice is not exactly brilliant. Neither is my head at the moment, as I'm running on about 4 hours sleep each night for the last few days.
And I've got a bit of a pounding headache as well, so this should be fun.
Oh yes, very much so. What do you think? Should we do some news?
Yep.
I'll start off with a couple of pieces. Casting has begun on the big screen adaptation of novel 50 Shades of Grey. Actors Charlie Hunnam, last seen in Pacific Rim, and Dakota Johnson, last seen in 21 Jump Street, have been cast as Christian Grey and Anastasia Steele, respectively. The casting was confirmed by a tweet from the novel's author, E.L. James, this morning. The movie is set for a release date of August 1st next year.
I've never read the book. I will never, ever touch the book. So that gives an indication that I'm probably going to be at the film day one. No, I will probably not even touch this film.
You'll make me go and see it. You always make me go and see these.
We'll have to do what we did with Twilight and maybe ask Bouncy if he can get his missus to go and see it, because she might go and see it and do a special review for us. So then we both don't have to go and see it.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll have to rope some... this is not being sexist, but the book itself is aimed at the female audience. He'll probably kill me for this, but if Booger is actually listening to the show, because I know he's not in the live chat at the moment, and he's into this kind of thing, maybe he can go and see it and review it for us.
Okay, I'm not going to go on this one anymore. I'll go on to my next piece of news. Website Variety has claimed that veteran actor Kurt Russell is in talks to appear in the next Fast and Furious movie. The role that he's rumoured to be in talks for would be the small established role to set up the character for a potential lead enemy in a possible 8th movie, which was rumoured to be offered to Denzel Washington recently. The Fast and Furious, the 7th movie in the series, will see the series under the hands of new director James Wan, who takes over from Justin Lin after he directed the previous 4 films, and will be released in July of next year.
Kurt Russell, interesting casting.
Yeah,
really interesting casting, actually.
I'm just trying to think anything I've seen apart from Death Proof, anything where I've seen him as a kind of bad guy, and I can't really think of any. But it's very interesting. I mean, he's not been doing much lately, but I could quite easily get into that him being the bad guy, because he's got that element. He'd be perfect for it.
Yep.
What have you got there?
Well, I'm going to kick off with probably the piece of news that killed me at the weekend.
Oh, yeah, I knew this was coming.
Killed me. But that is that legendary Japanese animation director, and I will put legendary in big, huge, massive, bold, gold letters. Hayao Miyazaki is set to retire at the age of 71 after his next movie, The Wind Rises. Head of Studio Ghibli, Koji Hoshino, made the announcement at this year's Venice Film Festival and said that more details will be revealed at a press conference in Tokyo on Friday of this week.
So this has got to be a bit of a gut punch to you then, because you're a massive Studio Ghibli fan, as you're always telling us.
Yeah, it's probably when Walt Disney announced that he was going to step away from doing animation or doing to be involved with what Disney does. This is exactly the same for me. This is the loss of Walt Disney, because Hayao Miyazaki has been responsible for the best animated movies ever created, in my opinion. He's a genius. He's an absolute genius. And I was speaking to somebody today about it, and if he thinks that he's going to pass the mantle on to his son, Goro Miyazaki, he's not ready for it. Goro Miyazaki's only done a couple of films for Studio Ghibli, and I loved From Up on Poppy Hill. It's an absolutely amazing movie. A previous film he did was Tales from Earthsea, but it got lambasted by the fans of Ghibli. They thought it wasn't a Ghibli film, and so I don't think he's ready. You've got the other veteran, Isao Takahata, and so I wonder who will be taking Miyazaki's place and what kind of direction Ghibli would go into.
Maybe he'll be lucky and he'll kind of get pulled back in to sort of help his son out of it, but not take over.
His son does need a lot of help, and I really do hope that this isn't the sort of like the downfall of Ghibli. I don't think it will ever be the downfall of Ghibli, because I think they are a smart animation company. They only release one film a year, so they are really, really smart with what they do. And I'm hoping it's not the downfall of them, but it's really sad news for me. My next piece of news, it's been confirmed that Bradley Cooper will be starring in Guardians of the Galaxy and that he will be playing Rocket Raccoon. The film is set to release on August the 1st, 2014. I know that's a short news story, but how else are you supposed to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with this, I'm not that wild about this. Nothing personally against Bradley Cooper, because he is a good actor. I'm not sure about a voice actor, because I can't think of anything I know he's done a voice for, but he's probably okay with a voice actor. But it's just the thing of what I don't know the comic, but I know of the comic and I know bits and pieces, and it seems like an odd choice, because it seems like you would have someone who is a very experienced voice actor, not having him, because it's a raccoon. I mean, he kind of looks like it, but apart from that, yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult to choose. Who would you have done it? You wouldn't gone as far as saying somebody like James Earl Jones with a voice like that.
No.
Just imagine, though.
James Earl Jones might have been good for the Groot, the character that's a tree that is being voiced by Vin Diesel, but
yeah,
because I mean they've gone deep with someone like Vin Diesel as well. It's kind of like taking the obvious one that a lot of people have said, but Jim Carrey sounds like he would have been a really good, and you've seen Jim Carrey, you've heard Jim Carrey do voice animation.
Yeah,
and you can do that kind of crazy thing, and it's. I mean, I hope that it works, but I just have this feeling that I'm going to watch it and I'm going to go, yeah, that's Bradley Cooper I'm hearing. That's not Rocket Raccoon I'm hearing.
Do you know what kind of what Rocket Raccoon is like? Is he a very serious character? Is he a very over the top character? Is he a comical character?
From what I understand, from what I've seen of it, from the things I've seen, he is kind of like a little angry person, but he knows his weapons and he's very sort of cheesy one-liner sort of thing.
Yeah, well, because I don't know the character of Rocket Raccoon.
I could be wrong on that. I might be thinking of something else, but because as I said, I haven't actually read the comics. I've just seen sort of art of it, and yeah. I've read bits about it. I've not actually been able to get hold of any of the comics of it, which I kind of want to try and get hold of a few before it comes out, so I can see what it was originally started out as.
Yeah. And my final piece of news, this is not actually technically news in a way, it's only a rumour at the moment, but a lot of places seem to have released this news story about 15-20 minutes before we start the show. But according to the website Film Chronicle, Benedict Cumberbatch has been offered a role in the new Star Wars movie. That's all the news is, that he has been supposedly offered a role in the new Star Wars movie, and it is put in the rumour category at the moment.
Okay, for that I have no problem with, and I think it will be a better casting choice. Not better casting for Benedict Cumberbatch, but better casting for a role for him to appear in. Whatever the role is, it can't be the role that he had from Star Trek 2, which was Star Trek Into Darkness, which was just really. We'll get into the DVD section of that later.
Yeah. Which I'm actually tempted to pick it up on Blu-ray. Which, if you do, I know that it's a bit ahead of ourselves. Get it from Sainsbury's because they've gone and got that exclusive extra disc again.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Question is, what's on it? It's a DVD, it's not a Blu-ray, so what's on it that's worth it?
I need to message Saxon on Facebook because he's bought it, and so I'll ask him to find out what it is. It's probably like a half an hour behind the scenes documentary or something.
Yeah, we'll find out from him. I'll tell you what, we'll find out from him and we'll put it on our website, which means I can plug mondaymovieshow.co.uk.
Awesome. That was just really well done there.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, after which we'll get into our first cinema release this week.
Actually, no, we won't. We'll go into box office top 10. You can definitely tell that we're both completely messed up.
I'm just completely fried this week. I am. I really am.
That's why there is 2 people hosting the show, not 1. Because if there was 1, you can just imagine the car crash that it would be. So box office top 10. At number 10 is The Smurfs 2,
which I haven't seen, but you have, surprisingly.
Yeah, avoid it. Just avoid it. At number 9 is Despicable Me 2.
I mean, what more is there we can say about this film? It's hung around like a bad stink and then some, but in a good way. 43,800,000 odd in its run of, I don't know how many weeks it's been, but it's got to have been at least 12 weeks.
Yep. Number 8 is Monsters University,
which I'm not sad to see it on its way out. I'm sad to see it still ahead of Despicable Me 2 because it's not better than Despicable Me 2. It's not as good as Monsters Inc. And I've actually had sort of arguments with people who think that it's really good, and I said to them, go back and watch Monsters Inc. afterwards. And I just don't see why this is doing so well.
Yeah, number 7, last week's number 1, Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah, dropping down to number 7, which I'm not surprised because it's not brilliant. Starts out well, but then halfway through decides it's going to do something else and just turns into a generic action film. Has none of the satire, none of the clever wittiness to it, and it jumps all over the place as well. And it's kind of, by the time you get to the end, it just feels pointless.
Huge drop off though. It took like 3 million in its first week, and now it's down to 613,000. That's a massive drop off.
Yeah, I mean, and the sad thing is, the film at number 5, which we'll get to in a moment, is now still ahead of it.
Number 6, though, is Two Guns,
which is enjoyable. I mean, it's not anything special, but it is one of these kind of B-grade thriller action films that's sort of nudged up slightly into A-grade because of the fact you've got Denzel Washington there doing what he does, which is just absolutely brilliant on film, and Mark Wahlberg playing the sort of the comedy sidekick bit, but still being a bit serious, and them working together quite well. I would look forward to seeing them working together on film again.
Yeah, number 5 is Grown Ups 2.
Yeah, which we just, I mean, get it out of the top 10, please. Stop going to see it. Stop taking anyone to see it. Just completely put a ban on it. Really, not necessary. Adam Sandler should know better.
He doesn't, actually. At number 4 is a new entry for Mortal Instruments, City of Bones,
which I really enjoyed. It's got issues in that it's far too long by about 40 minutes. It has issues of some of the casting and accents that people do, which don't quite work. But its biggest problem really is that because it's been stretched out to 2 hours and 10 minutes in length, there is occasional moments where you get to a certain point and it just stops and slows down and nothing happens. And if those bits were taken out, it would have been 90 minutes, it would have been much better, it would have been a great film, and I would have been really looking forward to the next one. As it is, I kind of am still looking forward to the next one, but I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, number 3 is Planes.
Talking of disappointed, this really, really takes the cake. It's technically amazing, some of the flight sequences are really cool, but other than that, it's a complete bore, it's not funny, the characters are really terrible, the writing is pretty awful, the dialogue is just a snore fest. And I honestly sat there in the cinema with a whole bunch of people, including kids, and the kids were just sort of not interested.
And I'm going to kill you for mentioning cake because I'm really hungry at the moment. And number 2 is a new entry for We're the Millers.
You know that's just going to make me mention food again now.
I hate you.
We're the Millers, I'm surprised that I liked this as much as I did. Again, it's not brilliant because it's one of these comedies where it's the typical thing of, oh, this happens. You can predict about halfway through how the movie's going to end. But it's kind of pleasantly enjoyable, and it's not overly gross in any moments. There's some good dynamics between the cast of, you've got on there Jason Sudeikis, you've got Jennifer Aniston, who is possibly the problem with her is the biggest problem of the film, with her being cast as a stripper. everything sort of works fine except for her. She's I just don't buy her as a stripper who's pretending to be a mum and housewife. I buy her as a mum and housewife, a mousewife. Hey, I'm going to get a letter for that. A mum and housewife, actually. a mum and housewife who is pretending to be a stripper is what it feels like, and that is a big problem for it. But I'm not surprised it's gone in as high as it has, because people are liking it like I do.
Yeah, and finally at number 1 is A New Entry for Elysium,
which we both enjoyed, but we both have issues in that it's not as good, I think, as District 9, and the story's very, very similar between the two of them. Slight differences in that District 9 was about racism, and Elysium is about difference in class and poor and the rich. It looks amazing, but it doesn't feel as amazing as it looks.
Yeah. I actually really liked it. I put it on par with District 9. Sheldon Copley needs a pat on the back because his character is horrible.
He is, yes.
He's despicable.
He's completely chewing the scenery.
Yeah, I think we do need a category for the end of the year show where it is like the most despicable character of the year or something similar to that. The character who chewed the most scenery, and he's got to be up there for that.
We'll have to come up with like the hamster award for the year.
Yeah.
One that's chewed the most cardboard.
Anybody who's got any ideas for really strange categories for the end of this year show, it's about time that we can start collecting them together. Just tell us on Twitter at Cryptic Tadpole, at EHD Video, at Monday Movie Show.
Yeah, okay, this could be very interesting. So that's your box office top 10 for this week. Now we're going to take a break, after which we'll go into our first review.
From page to screen. So they have 9 times out of 10 they have to send it back to you unopened or just throw it in the garbage can.
Things don't always look exactly as we envision our life to look, but sometimes it works out and turns out even better.
Gregor Fisher, his bacon number is 2 because he was appeared with January Jones in Love Actually, and January Jones and Kevin Bacon appeared in X-Men First Class together.
I've got to say, the very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas now, that just makes me want to rush out.
It's about the acting, about the writing. That's really what theatre is for me.
Probably had more names than Prince or whatever. Never mind, there's a joke for the oldies. It'd be like, who's Prince? Who's he? I'd just like to see Mr. Freeze hiring his bad guys going, right, okay, so you're a psycho, right, can you ice skate? Head over to iTunes, Spreaker and Stitcher and put in the search box From Page to Screen.
Hi, this is Ben Lloyd Holmes from Monster Movie The Expedition. Come find us on Twitter and Facebook at Expedition Movie. You're listening to Movie Mondays.
So, let's go on to our first review, which is Michael Bay's Pain and Gain, which stars Mark Wahlberg as Daniel Lugo, the central character of the film, which is based on a character who is a true story, is a real story, as the film does repeatedly remind you, where this character of Daniel Lugo, whose name has probably been changed, I've not looked into it, but he is as he starts out in the movie, we're introduced to him as a bodybuilder. He's sort of just kind of tired with the way things are, and he's looking to try and see if he can find another way to get out of being in the rut, so always struggling to have money and such. And ends up sort of making some deals and offers to a couple of his other fellow bodybuilders. You have a character, Adrian Doorbell, played by Anthony Mackie, and then you have a new character that's sort of introduced shortly into the film, Paul Doyle, played by Dwayne Johnson. Here's a clip.
Where'd you do your time, pal?
Up north.
Club Fed Correctional. White collar. Learned a lot. It's all businessmen.
How many grams of protein you eat?
How you fixed for a job now?
That's not good. It's kind of hard when you get a record.
I know.
Doesn't feel real good when Mickey D's tells you you're not even good enough to make the French fries.
We all make mistakes. Doesn't mean we have less right to a piece of the pie.
Amino acids after you work out or before?
So what Daniel decides to do is put together a crew with him and the two other characters, and to actually go then and basically kidnap someone, take over their possessions and everything, take everything they own, and then live out their lives. And the plan is to then kill this person and then take all their things and just basically live a kind of happy life. But as you can imagine, things do not quite go to plan. So here's the thing with Pain and Gain. We were talking about this middle of the week because you'd seen it and I hadn't, and then I went and saw it. And I mean, should I just say your response to the film was not good?
Let's just see. I'll let you get out the way with first of what your overall thoughts of this movie. It is my second worst film of the year.
Oh, wow, okay, that's kind of high-low praise then. It's not in my worst 10 films of the year. It won't be in my worst 10 films of the year. It won't be in my best 10 films of the year. It is not a terrible film, but it's not a great film. It does definitely suffer from Michael Bayism, but it's very, very dialed back Michael Bayism. He doesn't go completely nuts as he does in all his films recently. And the thing is that it's one of these things that's so bizarre, and the things that happen in it, you can't believe that it's a true story, but it keeps telling you, even when you get to a certain point and something happens that's really odd, it actually pops up on the screen and goes, remember, yes, this is still a true story. It's got this really weird thing in that it keeps jumping through lots of things. It's this happens and this happens, this happens very quickly. But the thing that's odd is that I found myself oddly enthralled by it and oddly enjoying it, as much as there are some really kind of despicable, unlikable characters in it. Some of the main characters I really don't like at all because they're not very nice people. And some of the things that they do are kind of some of the most despicable things you see of characters. It makes them very hard to like them. There's some decent performances in it as well. Not brilliant, but I mean, the Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is probably the best performance out of all of the actors in the film. And you've also got in there as well Tony Shalhoub, who turns up at one point, and Ed Harris as well. And annoyingly as well, you have Ken Jeong, but thankfully not as long as I was kind of dreading him being in the film. It's very, I mean, it's very odd that I want to say this, but I think that I like this film more because it's a Michael Bay film, because it's technically a Michael Bay film, the way he's done it. I like it for the technical things. I don't really like it much for the story. I definitely don't like it for the characters. I definitely don't think it's funny, which is a problem because it's trying to be a funny film. It's not really. It's just sort of a weird film and a weird thriller. A couple of moments made me laugh, but it didn't make me laugh all the way through, as I could tell it was trying to. So I think that it fails as a comedy, but I think technically it's a good film to watch.
And I can't disagree with you anymore. Or if you listen to Mark Kermode's review of it.
Oh, yes, I did. No, but see, the thing is, I did before I saw it. But I think that he has very, very gone against Michael Bay and anything. You know, Michael Bay, I think, could make an absolutely amazing film. I still think Mark Kermode wouldn't like it.
Well, here's the thing. I listened to that review after I saw it. So I saw the film before I listened to Mark Kermode's review. And I was finding myself agreeing with absolutely everything he was saying about this movie, apart from the fact that he said it is the worst film of the year. And I don't think anything can actually top movie 43, because that movie is just despicable on every front. This one, it's a misogynistic movie.
It is a bit, yeah.
It's horrendously acted. The Rock, his character, you can't believe that this is based on a true story.
Yeah.
That is based on reality. His character is such a strange, weird character. 1 minute he seems to be, he's got his marbles, and then the next minute he goes completely insane. He's about as intelligent as a spoon. His intelligence is just horrendous.
It's definitely not shining bodybuilders in a good light. That's one thing you can say. I think you'll agree with me on this film. Bodybuilders do not come off well in this film.
No, because the prime example is you look at the black character in the film, and he's had to go to a clinic where Rebel Wilson's character works, and she's sexually attracted to a guy who has problems with his penis, and she's sexually attracted to a guy like that. It's badly acted. The script is horrendous. The storyline is horrible. It's on for way too long, just over 2 hours. It could have been a movie that was easily an hour and 55 minutes shorter. 5 minutes short. That's all it feels like the film fits into. It's horrendous. It's an awful, awful film.
I don't think it's anywhere near that bad. Like I said, I don't think it's brilliant, but as someone who's interested in film and learning about film, and I find it a much more entertaining visual thing than I do as a story, which I guess is admitting that it's a bit of a failure as a film. but I liked it, and I will probably be watching it again at some point when it's out on DVD, just to go through and pick out bits in it that I really like, because I know there are a few in there that I was like, oh, I'm my eyes are loving this. My brain really isn't that much, but my eyes are.
I think I'm going to hammer a nail into my head if I have to watch this again. Is that bad?
Okay, you can do the next. You can do the next Michael Bay film. Then you can do Transformers 4.
Get lost, no chance. I was actually going to say a worse swear word there, but no chance. Next film is You're Next, which is the next film. I'm not using that joke from the film show on Friday. But it's directed by Adam Wingard, and this is technically his first full-length, feature-length film, because he has worked on VHS and VHS 2, but he just did a segment in VHS and VHS 2. So this is the first movie that he's allowed to, let's say, spread his wings and fly out of the coop. Interesting metaphor, I know. And the premise of the movie is very simple. It feels more like an old-fashioned 70s, 80s film. And at the opening of the film, you see this couple get killed. I'll not tell you how. You need to watch it for yourself. It's sort of like Scream. When you watch the first 10-15 minutes of Scream, it sort of like has the same kind of opening to that. And then you switch to this family who, the mother and father are celebrating their anniversary. They're getting the whole family together at this lovely, gorgeous house. The mother, she hears a noise upstairs. She goes outside to the car while the father investigates what's happening. Nothing is found, and then the rest of the family turn up. The next night, they decide to all have a dinner where they are attacked. An arrow comes flying through the window and kills one of the members of the family, and that's when they are besieged by these group of people who were dressed up with these animal masks on their face. Here's a clip.
Okay, we should each carry a weapon.
And so the rest of the film is, you can probably guess how it pans out. I'll not explain it here because, ow, that hurt. I just smacked my hand off the desk there, and that's not very helpful. It pans out the way you might actually think about it, giving away the storyline, even though there's very little storyline here. It is half the fun of going to see the film anyway. But the thing with You're Next, now, as I said at the start of the review, I said that Adam Wingard, he's done the movie more like a homage to like the old-fashioned slasher films of the 70s and 80s. His segments in both VHS and VHS 2 are really well made. He's an interesting director, and he's looked at this film and thought, yeah, horror movies have gone a bit stale at the moment. The home invasion film seems a bit stale at the moment. I'm going to attempt it, but I'm going to go back to the old-fashioned ways of it. And it works because of that. It does feel like a movie that is from the 80s, and that helped it. You've got the same kind, the soundtrack where the music plays over when you know that something menacing's going to happen. You've got the typical character who seems to sit head and shoulders above the rest and becomes the person who fights back against the people who are invading the household. You've got the gore, the extreme gore, and I'm going to shout at you slightly because I know in your review you gave away, in my opinion, the best death in the film.
Well, I didn't say exactly what it is. I just said what it involved.
I think people could easily put one and one together and get a really gory scene, because it is a nasty gory scene, and it makes much more sense than the stupid scene in Last House on the Left, the remake scene involving the microwave, because that is just absolutely balmy over the top. But there is a lot of gore in this movie, and it's really well shot. It has problems with pacing, and some of the jokes fall flat. It tries to add humour into a scene where it doesn't need humour into it, and it just falls flat a little bit. And it plays out, it's very stereotypical. It doesn't try to do anything different with the genre, but there is no scares in it neither. The tension is gone. There is no tension at all, I felt in the film. I think the audience that I went to see it as well believed that. But it's an 18-rated horror film, and they are really rare. They just come up once every 6 months. I think the last one released in the cinema, got a wide release in the cinema, which was rated 18, was Evil Dead. So it shows you the gap in between 18-rated horror films, but it's a good film for what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I didn't think it was especially brilliant, but I thought it kind of had this energy that has been lacking from these films recently. I mean, especially you're saying there, Evil Dead. There's an energy in this film which is kind of vacant in the Evil Dead remake. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, because the problem with the Evil Dead remake is, well, it's a homage, but the problem with it's just, it just felt a bit wishy-washy. And this one is, I think Adam Wingert is a fan of that kind of genre.
Yeah, and it also has all practical effects as well, from what I remember too.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Way Back, which is the latest film from Nat Faxon and Jim Rash, who both wrote and directed the film. It stars, you have the main character played by Liam James, who plays Duncan, who at the start of the film is on a road trip to a vacation house with his mother, played by Toni Collette, and her boyfriend, played by Steve Carell, and his daughter. Four of them get there. Everything sort of happens, and they meet up. They meet up with some of the neighbours. They go to this house basically that is owned by Steve Carell's character, and it's like a summer house sort of thing by a lake. And the problem is though that obviously Duncan isn't especially enthralled with his sort of his mum's boyfriend. Their relationship between the two of them isn't great. If you've seen the trailer, you know he asks him what he is on a scale of 1 to 10. Steve Carell's character asks him what he thinks he is on a scale of 1 to 10, and tells him he thinks he's a 3, which is kind of give you an idea of what he's like, what their relationship is like. And what happens is that Duncan ends up sort of feeling sort of depressed, wandering off for where he finds himself at this water park, and ends up sort of joining there because of the fact that there's a character played by Sam Rockwell, who kind of takes him under his wing and sort of shows him the ropes and gets him a job there. Here's a clip.
Lewis! Hook up my man Duncan here with one of our finest rentals, would you?
Some kid threw up near Crazy Tubes.
Sexy. Let's not try to impress them all at once, huh?
That will not be a challenge.
Lewis is kind of over this place.
I told you I'm not long for here.
No, I remember that conversation in 2003, 5, 11, April. Yes, sir,
I can't eat that now because your dirty mouth's been on it.
Germaphobe.
I just told you there's some things I want to do.
Prove it. Without thinking. Red Law 3, go!
I've seen New Mexico, invent something, become a storm chaser.
You had me until number 3. I think you gotta go to school for that.
Look, there's a storm. Where? Over there. Cool, let's go get it. Got it.
He actually is. He's been studying meteorology since preschool. Don't let the Dahmer glasses fool you.
Okay. These don't have any mesh, so you're basically going commando. Watch City and your junk will fall out. Found that out the hard way at a birthday party.
And like that, you're impressed and grossed out.
And you heard there in that clip, you have the character of Lewis as played by one of the directors, Jim Rash. The other director, Nat Faxon, is actually in the water park. He plays a character there as well. Because this is made, it's a kind of like a love affair sort of film that they've been trying to get made for a while. They finally got it made, and it's all been it's involved a lot of work on their parts. And that really comes through on it because of the fact that this is an absolutely fantastic film. There are great performances in this. There's not a single bad performance. Steve Carell has never been nastier and more sort of narcissistic before in anything I've seen him. Even when he's playing a villain where he's completely hanging it up, because this is such a he's kind of evil and just he doesn't care, and he's very, very. It's a very good performance, but you just don't like him. You've got Toni Collette, who is as good as always in there. Alison Janney, who pops up, is also weirdly sort of funny, and saying she's kind of like the comedy element of the film, because every now and again she'll pop up, say things that are really sort of out of place and stupid, and it just makes everyone in the whole audience laugh. But the thing that's really good and really surprising is Liam James playing Duncan, who is absolutely incredible in this film. I've not seen him in anything before, but he's honestly, I was completely blown away by his performance, as I was everyone else's. And it is one of these films, obviously, I mean, I hate using the term because I've used it a lot this year, but coming of age. And it is one of these coming of age films where he then comes into his own, working at the park, away from Steve Carell's character and from his home sort of life, and in amongst his people and his friends, and he comes sort of out of his shell thing. And it's not just the fact that it's really well written, it's the fact that he brings that forward in his performance. At the beginning, he's very sort of quiet, small, shut down, and then, you know, as it goes on, you see him actually come out of his shell and become just, you know, so much more confident and stuff. And I'm just, honestly, I cannot believe how good this film is, and that, I mean, you heard people have been saying it's good. It really is.
I have nothing to say. I haven't seen it.
I know you haven't, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of it, because I'm pretty sure it's a film that you will probably enjoy it as much as I did. It just worked for me so well.
So it is one of those movies where it's not like
there's been a lot of
recommended
heart
to me like
into it.
Mud. Because
Yes.
Mud, I know I'm reviewing Mud in the DVD section of the show, so it's a film that you're hoping that I get to see before the end of the year, just in case. I doubt it'll be released on DVD in time, so you want me to see that film before we do our wrap-up of the year.
Well, I'm pretty sure as well, it might not be in the top 5, but I think it will be in my top 10 films of the year. It is that good. I just...
Depending on my mood and what I'm like after I finish work tomorrow, I might go to see it, because my cinema is anywhere on a Tuesday. It's only £3 to get in, so I might go and see it tomorrow, depending on the mood I'm in.
Okay, I definitely recommend that you do. I mean, being the right mind for it, don't go in and go, I don't really feel like this. Go in and see it, because when I saw it on a preview last week, and it wasn't a full cinema, but there were people in there. There were people who had kids in there. It's a 12-rated film. People who had kids in there who were, I don't know if maybe they were a little younger than 12, but them, and there was adults in there. There were I'm pretty sure there's people in there were senior citizens, and the whole audience was laughing. It's not a big comedy, but there were moments in it that made everyone laugh, and there was no point in anyone seemed fidgety and bored. And you can't ask for more than that in this kind of film.
Nope.
That's it for the week's cinema releases. We'll be back after a short break, which will go through our new DVDs and Blu-ray releases. Stick around for that.